Ray let go of you, trying to throw you away from the danger, and I caught you just a few seconds ago. I think your side may be bruised. I look at the wreck on the road, marveling at the trouble it has caused. The cars are sprawled across the lane, right behind a massive truck. Police cars are heading up to the action, their lights flashing. And all because of us, I sigh, bringing about another wave of pain. He frowns, staring at the truck. No, it was that truck's fault, he says firmly. If it had kept at its normal speed, none of us would have been hit. I hate to say it, but we are lucky that you are converted, because a blow like that normally would have killed a human. Is Ray okay? I question fearfully. I think he has passed out, Xavier responds, distraught at the edge of his voice. We both watch as Danae examines him. He was hit from this side. She rolls up his shirt, pointing at the mass of blood and bruises. He seems to be healing very quickly though. I would say that it will be completely stitched up in a couple of hours, and the only thing left will be the bruises. I'm surprised that he still made his way over here even after he was hit. So he will be all right, Xavier asks fervently. I can sense that he cares deeply for his brother, maybe more than he lets anyone know. They seem to share a deep bond that not even hate can break. Yes, Danae finalizes. But we may have to carry him to the car dealership. And look at him. He is covered in mud. We can fix that later, Xavier says assuredly, then gestures to my form. What about her? Danae scampers over to us, looking at my left side. She's fine. Just some heavy bruises. Xavier tries to put me down, looking at me worriedly. Can you walk? He asks me. I wobble on the first step, but with his help. I walk in a small circle. It's good, I say finally. I can walk. I just cannot twist my body. Okay, Xavier smiles. That's good. I'll carry Ray then. He hoists Ray onto his back without complaint or even strain. The car dealership is only a couple 100 feet away, and for a minute, it symbolizes deliverance for me. Deliverance from the burning pain I have whenever I twist my torso. What kind of dealership is this? I inquire to distract myself. Pommel, Xavier immediately answers. A very expensive type of car. Do we have enough money for something like that? He winks at me, saying nothing. We walk in silence to the front of the dealership. I am struck by the dazzling cars surrounding it. All shown in their utmost glory. It feels like I have walked into a sea of brilliance, drowning into the blinding opulence of each car. Wow, I say softly, surveying the vehicles with wonder. Xavier ignores me, walking to the front door with Ray on his back. A man in a suit opens the door for us, his black hair slicked to his forehead. Good morning, he says in rich, elegant tone, although his eyes widen when he sees Ray. Does he need to be taken to the emergency room? The man asks frightfully. Xavier shakes his head, and the man gets an eyeful of his beautiful blue hair, sparkling as he moves his head. He just passed out a little earlier and fell in the mud by accident. Oh, he says in a surprised tone, probably confused by the way Xavier says passed out so lightly. Which of these cars are the fastest? You have so many of them, beautiful too, he asks, his words pouring like honey from his lips. I can feel the man instantly falling under his spell, and he smiles. Yes, they are beautiful, he agrees. Some of the best cars in the entire world are here. He leads the way to a certain car, gleaming and slender. It is shiny silver, and only has 2 car doors. This is the Pommel Fly 3000. It rides so smooth that it makes the rider feel like they are actually flying. I stare at the tiny car with disbelief. Does the man really think we can fit in that thing? And this one? He gestures to the car beside it. This one is a deep bronze, ripping with power and beauty. This is the Pommel Ginger, one of our premium vehicles. Xavier stares at the Pommel Ginger, examining it closely. There is not much room in this one either, and it is a convertible. It almost grabs too much attention, clearly not for someone that wants to be conspicuous. But what is your fastest car? He finally asks, his voice tinged with annoyance. These cannot be your best. It is almost like he is not satisfied with the gorgeous cars before him, as if he has seen much better. The Pommel representative stares at Xavier for a minute. Then smiles. You are right, sir. These magnificent beauties are not our best. Come with me. He walks towards the middle of the giant dealership, smiling. We follow him. Xavier with an expression of dubiousness. Here, ladies and gentlemen, is our masterpiece. He gestures to a ruby-red car that doesn't seem to scream, "I'm rich," or "I'm beautiful." It is just a plain, attractive four-door vehicle which stuns me with its simplicity. This car is the Pommel Fire, the first of its series. We make it so fast, so powerful, that the body can only be this simple without lowering both of those two factors. It is so tough it can run through a brick wall, and is completely waterproof. It may not be our best-looking car, but it is certainly our best-performing one. "I'll pay you double the price," Xavier interrupts. "Right now, if you will let me drive it out of here right away." We are in a hurry. "Double," he says in alarm. "But sir, this car is worth." Xavier hands him a debit card. "Now. Hurry." He seems to be annoyed with the man, and his surprised demeanor. The man takes one more surprised glance at Xavier, then backs off into an office. We wait for a minute, then he returns to us and looks at Xavier with new eyes. With shaking fingers, he gives the card back to Xavier. "Sir, are you a celebrity?" he asks, peering at Xavier closely. "None of your business," Xavier answers sharply, then opens the car door. He places Ray in the backseat, then slides in the front. Quickly we follow suit, noticing Xavier's urgent behavior. When the car begins moving, I glance back at the mont's face, still gaping. "Well, that was fast," I laugh, watching Xavier gradually loosen as he drives, a smile growing on his features. I can tell that he greatly enjoyed intimidating that guy. I examine the innards of this expensive car. The car is very luxurious on the inside, the seats made with some absolutely amazing material that I can almost sink into. A large touchscreen stretches between Xavier and I, 3D animations dancing across it. For a little while, I amuse myself with that, fiddling with the virtual buttons. Then I remember how hungry I am and I grab my food and start eating a slice of my lemon pie. When we enter the highway, the car growls with power, accelerating quickly. For one quick moment, it feels like I am riding in a rocket instead of a car. Xavier grips the wheel tightly, the smile getting broader on his handsome features. I laugh once more at his expression, and he turns to look at me. Electricity and passion instantly crackle between us, and for a few seconds, we cannot pull away. I feel myself drowning in his green eyes, losing thought of anything else. Then he shakes his head and turns to face the road, the smile melting off of his features. I quickly look to the window, red blossoming to my cheeks. And then I see the gigantic truck that is still sprawled across its lane, surrounded by two police cars. An officer is talking to the truck driver, a large, heavy-set man wearing ragtag jeans and a t-shirt. I catch a glance of red as we zoom past them, my own eyes growing wide. That man has the eyes of hell. Shifters just seem to have it out for me. They must be simply unsatisfied with the fact that, while they did seriously wreck my life, they haven't managed to take it just yet. I decide to inform Xavier, in case this shifter appearance has more importance than it seems. "Xavier. Ray's waking up," Danae says excitedly, staring at the hump beside her. I twist in my seat to look, watching the mud-splattered Ray rear his head. His hair is sticking in every direction, dirt smeared on his cheeks. What happened?" he stutters slightly. He puts his hand to his face and wipes off some mud, opening his startling, emerald eyes. "We got the car," Xavier updates Ray emotionlessly, keeping his eyes on the road. A small frown soon graces his lips. He takes a quick look at me, then urgently snaps his eyes back to the wheel. "I see." Ray examines his surroundings. "Why did I pass out?" "Because you were hit by one," I exclaim, twisting to stare at his tanned features with a jesting look. "Oh, really?" Ray asks absent-mindedly. "Must have been a pretty big car." He lifts up his shirt, looking at the bruises and almost healed scabs trailing along his body. I can't help but notice once more how defined his muscles are, with a six-pack that looks like it belongs on a bodybuilder. It was a truck. That makes sense. No wonder the breath was knocked out of me. If it was a regular car, then I wouldn't have passed out like an idiot. Stupid werewolves. They always have to be the best at everything. You know, I interlude. Most people die when they are hit by a car. That's true, Ray nods his head thoughtfully. Humans are much weaker than the werewolves. But they do have a very good thing about them. Which is what? They are constrained by the goddess of time. They have purpose in their life. The blessing of growth graces their morphing bodies, Ray shrugs. To me that is worth more than all the money in the world. Werewolves, on the other hand, are frozen forever until the moment when they shatter. The atmosphere falls, and silence reigns. Should I tell Xavier about the red eyes? Or will I just stir up trouble? Now that I think about it. Did that man really have red eyes in the first place, or did I just imagine it? I look at Xavier once more, open my mouth, and shut it. Exhaustion creeps in, chilling me to the bone. The seats are so soft and comfortable that it just begs for decent use. After a few minutes, sleep overcomes me like a tidal wave, and I surrender all to the dark night that steals away thought and reason. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Mona. Mona. A hand shakes my shoulder, jerking me awake. My eyes slip open, and once again light enters my world. Who is this? I ask groggily, my face probably reflecting the confusion I feel. When everything solidifies, the first thing I notice is azure hair that is fine and long, each strand shimmering like a rainbow. Then a chiseled, stunningly handsome face comes into view, followed by eyes of green. You need to get up for a little while and walk, the man commands, letting go of my shoulder. I wearily sit up, looking at the scene beyond Xavier's head. Once again I am in Xavier's arms, the warmth and attraction almost immediately consuming me. The car is missing, and we are located right outside of a large building with plenty of windows. What? I stutter as he gently places me on the ground. He starts to walk, and I follow him. We needed to find a place for the night, so we chose to stay here. Both Ray and I figure that we have lost the council at this point, but we need to move constantly to avoid them if they pick up on our trail. We had to park the car down the road from here. And you were asleep, leaving us to decide what to do with little Miss Drooler. I don't. Yes. Mona, he cuts me off. You do. I huff, folding my arms in annoyance. I have never really thought about it before, but Xavier is probably right. So are we staying in a nice room? I ask, curiously. I guess you will have to see for yourself. Now won't you? He says slowly. Deliberately. For some reason, it seems to me as if I am stupid to him. I guess, with these words, our conversation fizzles to nothing, and the awkward silence begins to swallow me whole. The hotel is rather dingy, with dirty carpet and furniture. Xavier leads me down a small hallway, and then stops at one door. He pulls a key out of his pocket and slides it through a metal box hooked to the front of the door. There is a beep, and the door is yanked open by a gray-haired Danae. She is completely old now, her skin wrinkled and rough. Hey, she greets me warmly, in mid-laugh. Ray comes to stand beside her, grinning like he just won the billion-dollar lottery. I love TV, Ray exclaims, his eyes bright and happy. He seems more loose and energetic with each passing day, losing his negative attitude that he used to possess. I wonder what has caused him to change. What are you watching? I ask curiously. It is this soap opera I found, Danae smiles. Hurry and come in, it's about to start and I don't want to miss it. When some sort of opening theme blares through speakers to our ears. She rushes to the bed. Plopping on it gracefully. The room is small, with a door to the right, 2 beds, a kitchenette, a bathroom, and a small bedside table. It is really large, though, compared to my old bedroom at the orphanage. We also got an adjoining room, by the way, Danae calls over her shoulder. So everyone can have his or her own bed. Ray and I already called this one. We are going to watch this show all night. I walk to the door and swing it open, opening my eyes wider when I realize this room looks exactly like the other one. I thought it would lead to another bathroom or a closet. My pouch lays on my bed, a pair of pajamas right beside it. I slip into the bathroom, peeling off my old clothes and shimmying into the light, soft material. I wonder where Danae managed to get this. Once I go back outside, I see our big TV stretching across the wall. Xavier is just sitting on one of the beds, thumbing through a magazine of some kind. Following suit, I slip onto my own bed, propping myself up like he did. Right now NASCAR is on, which Xavier doesn't seem interested in at all. It bores me also, the fast cars only serving to make me dizzy. I want to change the channel, but the remote is nowhere to be found. Then I finally spot it, by Xavier's side. For some reason, it is hard to ask him for the remote. It is hard to even speak, to ruin the strained silence that has settled over us like a thick woolen blanket. I sit there for a long while, until I am about to snap. Briefly I wonder if Danae planned for us to be in the same room together. If she did this on purpose, then I might just hate her. May I have the remote? I finally ask, my voice robotic and expressionless. Xavier looks up at me, his green eyes gazing right into mine. He puts the magazine down and picks up the remote, leaning over to give it to me. I reach out my hand, stretching to close the distance. My hand grasps the remote, and the tips of my fingers touch his in the process. With this touch comes a shock as frightening as a bolt of lightning, electricity and a crazy burst of uncontrollable passion boiling through my blood. The remote tumbles from our hands, hitting the floor with a thud. Xavier immediately gets up, a spark in his eyes and despair in his features. With a sudden urgency, he races to my side, remote forgotten. I can't stand this any longer. I'm sorry for being mean, he begs. Just please, let us be anything but this. You can treat me like dirt, or a child, for anything from you is better than nothing at all. I can be a plaything to you if you wish, as long as I am something. Xavier, I attempt to calm him down, my voice alike to his in nervousness and pleading. Even if you like Ray, please keep me at your side. Allow me to be your friend, or at least your acquaintance. This bond of ours is too strong for either of us to sever, even though you may wish it so. Xavier, I say in a slightly louder voice. Because I don't think I can do it anymore. Your scent is so overpowering that it envelops me, causes me to lose all train of thought. Xavier, I command. Stop. Finally his tender lips come to a close, and with it comes peace. For a few seconds. This peace washes over us like a tidal wave, and everything is perfect. I have never. Don't say anything, he whispers breathlessly. I promise I will accept any conditions as long as you will acknowledge me. Please, no matter how much you must hate me. He trails off, his eyes alight. I want to protest, but now doesn't seem like the time. We both lean in. I realizing how close we actually are. Not much more of a hair's breadth away, his perfection and insecurity shines plainly for me to see. If only one of us tilts his or her head, then we will kiss. My heartbeat quickens and excitement floods through me. I can't believe it. We just have a major problem or fight, caused by a misunderstanding that hasn't fully been cleared up between us, and right after we will share our first kiss. Our bonding. I suppose. I can only hope it leads to something good. My hands shake and my face turns a cherry red. With barely contained anticipation, I purse my lips, looking up at the man mated to me. The one that was chosen to be mine. Centimeters away, and edging closer. His top lip brushes against my cheek as he suddenly swivels his head in response to the blare of his cell phone. Red is on his face too, spreading like wildfire. He sneaks a quick glance at me before grabbing his phone, a small pout dancing on the corner of his lips. Disappointment crackles through the air. I curse that phone. He fiddles with a few buttons, and then a small message is displayed on the screen. As Xavier reads it, his face turns a deathly white. It is from Jake. What does it say? I ask fearfully. He sits in complete silence for a second, staring at me. Then, after the moment is over, he says, "Took the house. We are prisoners. They are coming for you too." Alarm overcomes my being, the shroud of doom once more descending upon me. For some reason, I can already tell that we are completely finished. Puppy love. My bed is soft, but not nearly as warm as I wish it to be. I shiver underneath the thick covers, tossing and turning furiously. I struggle to get warm, yet only the cold embraces me. The desire for a certain man grows at an alarming rate, as I know that one touch from him would instantly make my body go hot with passion. But at the same time, I am afraid of him. Sadness and a strange fear races through my mind as I recall once again his confession to me, his impassioned plea for forgiveness that strangled my heart. I wanted to rectify our misunderstanding, but he refused to listen. I could tell that he was stressed, his eyes full with pain and desolateness. He was almost desperate for me, as if I was his bread and water. Just remembering that one look from his statuesque features ashamedly brings a tiny tingle of happiness to my heart. But what is he truly desperate for? Is it just for our mating to be fulfilled, or because he loves me for who I am? Once I really think about it, if I was not his mate, he would not have fallen in love with me at all. In fact, I would have been dead now. I would have been given everything I asked for on that one awful night. I can tell you are thinking hard, a deep voice cuts through my pondering state. His words are followed by a little laugh, and the crinkle of a smile. Ray, I slowly sit up, struggling against the headboard. Looking up at his grinning face. I reluctantly smile back. What are you doing? Getting you. Everyone else is in the car. How long has it been? About 3 hours. It's time. Mona, his face is now deathly serious. We cannot stay here anymore. Our lives are at stake. I feel so woozy, I attempt to swing my legs off the bed. Clutching Ray's shoulder for support. Please, help me, I whisper into his shoulder, leaning on his broad form. Without another word he sweeps me into his arms, cradling me like a baby. It feels so good, so warm. As I look up at him, I can see his concern and determination. For a minute, I see another in his place, with bright blue hair and smooth skin. Forgive me, I quickly apologize, slipping into the vast nothingness as my eyes slide to a close once more. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. The first thing I see is Danae's face leaning over mine. Now she seems as young as a teenager, with luscious, dark hair. As I sit up, my own flaming red hair slaps against my arms. For some reason, I feel extremely nauseated. Her large eyes search mine with great concern. Are you okay? She asks softly, and I grasp her arm tightly. I don't think so, I confess. I think I am car sick. Being in a car like this reminds me of that fateful journey with my parents. I haven't really been overly fond of them since then. What's wrong? Ray twists in his seat, staring at me. I try to avoid looking up and seeing the whiz of cars in front of him. I feel like I am going to throw up. I confess, holding my stomach. His eyes carefully examine my appearance, obviously trying to decide for himself how bad of a condition I am in. Xavier, we are going to have to park the car soon or Mona will vomit all over the seats. Ray turns his head back to the front, leaning forward in his seat. I don't know where, but we need to find a safe place to either get some meds for her or to ditch the car completely. I spare one glance outside of my window, but all I can see is miles and miles of road. There is no gas station. No store of any kind. Where are we going to hide? I inquire, my voice coming out a little raspy and low. I am hoping that when we reach Pack 24 they will help hide us, but if they don't, then we will continue to travel north until we reach one of the sanctuaries. Xavier says firmly, keeping his eyes straight ahead. Even from the back I can sense his fierce determination, his desire to escape the invisible villain. Miles and minutes pass, and with every bump I feel a new wave of nausea. Ray keeps his gaze focused on me, somehow encouraging me without words. Danae is just as tired as I am, leaning her head against the window. Crack. My head leaps up as a resounding noise fills the air. What was that? I scream, searching for the source of the noise. Xavier jerks the car off the road and races towards the trees on both sides of the interstate. Hold on. He yells, narrowing his eyes. The speed escalates from 80 miles per hour to over 100. Crack. A gasp escapes me as I hear the same sound again. The window beside me splinters as a small metal ball is suddenly wedged inside of the thick glass. Spider webs blossom in the small area, reaching to the far corners of the window. Watch out, Danae screams. Tugging me over to her side just as it shatters, glass shards falling all around us. One hits my leg, and instantly blood starts to drip from the small wound. We are all jerked around as he navigates us into the forest. I am thrown against the opposite seat where the glass is. Danae unable to hold me. Tears slide down my cheeks as I feel thousands of tiny pieces pierce my body. I crawl back over to her, and begin to break down as I hold her arm. There is another blur of movement and Ray is at our side, shielding us both from the waves of glass flying towards us. We are going to have to ditch the car. He yells to Xavier as another shot rings out. This time it hits the window that stretches across the back. Normal bullets wouldn't shatter windows like these. Ray mutters to himself angrily as cracks run through the back window. What do we do? I ask, mashed between Ray and Danae. Many more gunshots crackle through the air as we swerve deeper into the forest, scraping past trees and rocks. On the count of 3, open the door. Ray instructs me calmly. Why? If we do, we will be killed by the bullets. Mona, he stares into my eyes, serious as ever. This time, you are just going to have to trust me. My fingers reach the handle, gripping it tightly. Tears are flowing like a waterfall from my face onto my shirt and jeans. 1. Ray, Don T. That's what they want. They are trying to scare us into leaving the vehicle. Xavier shouts, twisting around briefly. They know bullets can seriously injure us, it's safer out there than it is in here. We are all getting hurt by the glass. The shattered pieces from the back window are falling like rain on our heads, scraping our skin, and anyway. I don't think those are normal. Run-of-the-mill bullets. He continued. Xavier raises his head once more, eyes alert. 2. Ray whispers in my ear, shielding me as best he can. My hands are clammy from holding the metal handle. I hold my breath, waiting for all this to end, for it to be over. Maybe I will wake up and find out that this was all a dream. 3. My eyes slip to a close as I wrench the handle open. There is a blur of motion as we all fall towards the ground, and for a moment, it seems as if all this is occurring in slow motion, as if we are just gracefully falling out a slowly moving car. Ray zooms out of the car, grasping both of us in his arms before we ever hit the ground, and we are gone, traveling faster than the car ever did. In seconds Xavier is right along beside us. Let me take one. He tells Ray, holding out his arms slightly. Ray rolls his eyes, and soon I find myself in Xavier's strong arms. I almost sigh with relief as I lean back against his chest, although I hate to admit it, I have missed this so much. Almost as much as I have missed him. For what seems like ages we run through the forest, bullets shooting through the air. One hits a tree by us and it cracks, falling right beside us. I gasp as another drops to the ground soon after. Bullets aren't supposed to be able to knock over trees. Another series of trees plummeting to the ground follow a series of gunshots. Xavier, I scream as a gigantic one blocks our path. This one was laced with quite a few shots. Xavier turns quickly and we both realize that we are trapped in a circle of trees. Who could have planned something like this? I ask, my breath coming in short gasps. Without answering my question, Xavier leaps to the top of the tree and prepares to jump off of it. If I were you, I wouldn't do that. A deep, commanding voice erupts from behind us. Chills race through my spine as we turn to see a man standing in the center of the circle. He had beautiful golden hair, much like Wes S., that stopped right at his shoulders. Xavier narrows his eyes. I can tell these two are not exactly friends. And why not? He stands firmly on the top of the tree, not backing down. Members of my team are stationed on every side. There is no chance of escape. The man laughs a little, smiling brightly. Hello, Xavier. Good to see you again, though I certainly did not think I would be seeing you so soon. Why don't you step down from the tree, Xavier doesn't waver. Did you see our newly developed bullets? He gestures to the sky as a bunch of shots race through the air. These are specially modified to have the ability to pierce the toughest of skins. Good thing you avoided them so far. If one hit you, it would have hurt. Suddenly the man notices me in his arms. Is this the convert? She's a pretty one. Xavier's grip tightens around my form, holding me even closer to his warm chest. How about you convince your boyfriend to step down before anyone gets hurt? He asks me, a hint of contempt laced through his seductive voice. Maybe it would be a good idea. Xavier, I whisper into his ear, fright clearly painted onto my features. They seem to know what they are doing. I am not going to give you up. At these words, butterflies flutter in my stomach and a blush inches its way onto my cheek. The man dramatically sighs. Bring them out. Demon, an imposing man with sunglasses, comes out from behind one of the trees, carrying two men. He places them near the feet of his leader, emotionless. Say hello to Jake and Wes, the leader smiles, pulling a dark object out of his pocket. Or I should say, tell them your goodbyes unless you get down from that tree. Thick, blood-stained bandages are wrapped around Jake's arm and Wes's calf. They must have been hit by those deadly bullets. He holds the dark object over their heads. I recognize it to be a gun. Where is Yi? He couldn't be dead, could he? Xavier looks down, and slowly steps to the ground. Anger is laced through his gaze as he lifts his head and glares at the man. He doesn't seem to notice that Yi is missing. This is your fault for trying to run. The man says plainly. It didn't have to be this way, you know my reasons for running. Xavier replies evenly, his eyes like lasers. The man shrugs in reply, a slight smirk dancing across his handsome features. I am afraid we are going to have to bring you all in. With a wave of his hand, several figures jump over the trees into the circle. Most of them are strong, handsome men, not one of them appearing to be over the age of 40. The rest are beautiful wolves. Their eyes flash an emerald green. Feeling rather awkward, I stumble out of Xavier's arms and stand beside him. Scanning the row of men. I see no familiar faces. Danae and Ray are a few feet away from us, obviously trying to judge how powerful their opponent is. You have to let Mona have a trial. Xavier insists firmly. Or I won't surrender. He steps towards the leader, clearly intent on picking a fight. Immediately 2 tall men surround him, forbidding him from proceeding any farther. Why should I do that when you so blatantly broke the rules and even tried to escape going to headquarters? I listen to their argument for a few seconds, and then my gaze wanders. I search my surroundings for other werewolves.